Please make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I never imagined that my own son, the boy I carried for 9 months, nursed through fevers, and stayed up countless nights rocking to sleep, would be the one to abandon me. But life has a strange way of showing you who people truly are. It happened on my birthday. I woke up that morning expecting a warm breakfast, maybe flowers, and my son's smiling face saying, "Happy birthday, Mom." Instead, I found myself in the passenger seat of his car, clutching my worn handbag and wondering why he kept glancing at me with that uneasy smile. We drove for over an hour before he finally pulled up in front of a brick building with a white sign that read, "Sunny Grove Retirement Home." "Just for a while, Mom," he said, avoiding my eyes. "You'll make friends here, they'll take care of you better than I can." And just like that, my son left me there, on my birthday. My heart shattered in a way I didn't know it could. But what he didn't know was that fate had a plan. Because exactly 7 days later, I'd be holding a piece of paper worth millions. And my life, my entire life, would change forever. I watched his car disappear from the parking lot, my breath fogging the glass door as I pressed my hand against it. Inside, the air smelled faintly of disinfectant and overcooked vegetables. A cheerful nurse with tired eyes took my suitcase and tried to make conversation, but I couldn't hear a word she said. All I could think about was how quickly love can turn into abandonment. The first few days at Sunny Grove were a blur of unfamiliar faces, the hum of TV sets in the common room, and the muffled sound of walkers dragging across the floor. I spent most of my time staring out the window, wondering what I had done to deserve this. But on the morning of the 7th day, everything shifted. It was just after breakfast when a volunteer rolled in a cart full of magazines, crossword puzzles, and a small stack of brightly colored envelopes. She stopped in front of me, smiled, and handed me a crisp white envelope. "This came in the mail for you," she said. Inside was a simple letter from the State Lottery Commission, along with a check so large, my eyes blurred with tears. I had completely forgotten about the lottery ticket I'd bought weeks before, stuffing it into my handbag as just another failed dream. But it wasn't a failed dream this time. It was $18 million. In that moment, I stopped feeling abandoned, and started feeling powerful. Because now, I had the means to decide exactly how the rest of my story would go. And my son? Oh, he was about to learn a lesson he'd never forget. If you'd like, I can continue into chapter 2, where she begins her plan to take back control and confront her son in a way that will leave him speechless. I spent my first night at the nursing home staring at the ceiling. The dim light from the hallway spilled into my room through a cracked door, casting jagged shadows on the walls. Each shadow looked like it was reaching for me, accusing me, mocking me. I wasn't used to this kind of quiet. No ticking clock from the kitchen. No faint hum of my old refrigerator. Just silence, the kind that pressed against your ears until you could hear your own pulse. I kept replaying my son's last words. "It's for your own good, Mom. You'll be better off here. Better off. In a place where they fed you on a schedule like cattle, where strangers with hollow smiles measured out your pills and called it care." I wasn't better off. I was discarded. The next morning, I sat in the common area with a cup of coffee that tasted like it had been filtered through a sock. Old Mr. Hargrove, a man whose memory came and went like a faulty light bulb, sat beside me. He leaned over and whispered, "They always leave you here when they've decided they're done with you." The words sliced through me. I didn't respond. That afternoon, a nurse handed me a stack of letters. Most were bills and the rest were ads, except for one, a plain white envelope with no return address. I almost tossed it aside, but something in me told me to open it. Inside was a single piece of paper. 3 lines, neatly typed. Mrs. Sanders. You may want to check last week's lottery numbers. A friend. I frowned. I hadn't bought a ticket in months, except. I froze. My mind flicked back to the day before my birthday. The man at the gas station had been short of change, and I'd covered him. In gratitude, he'd bought me a lottery ticket, for luck, he'd said. I'd stuffed it into my purse and forgotten all about it. I didn't want to hope. Hope was dangerous. But that night, lying in my narrow bed with the hum of the fluorescent light above me, I decided that tomorrow I'd find that ticket. If the numbers matched, everything would change. And this nursing home. My son's betrayal. They would be nothing but the opening scene in a much bigger story. The next morning, I went straight to my small dresser. My purse was shoved into the bottom drawer, wedged under folded sweaters. My hands trembled as I dug through the pockets, feeling for that flimsy slip of paper. There it was, creased, faded, but still legible. The front desk had an old computer with internet access, and after asking the nurse for a little hobby time, I sat down in the stiff chair and typed in last week's lottery numbers. The screen refreshed. The numbers glowed back at me. My heart began to thump so hard I thought the nurse might hear it from down the hall. 12, 18, 24, 36, 42, 49. I lifted the ticket to compare. 12, 18, 24, 36, 42, 49. Every single number. For a long moment, I didn't move. My breath caught. My hands gripped the ticket so tightly the paper crinkled. And then it hit me. I had just become a millionaire. A slow smile spread across my face. The bitterness of the coffee. The thin mattress. The humiliation of being left here like an abandoned suitcase, all of it began to fade into the background. I didn't tell a soul. Not the nurses. Not the residents. And certainly not my son. Instead, I quietly called the lottery commission from the office phone, arranging for the prize to be claimed by a trustee. No interviews. No media attention. I wanted silence, the kind of silence you need before delivering a blow no one sees coming. For the next few days, I played the role of the frail, forgotten mother. I let my son believe I was adjusting here. I let the staff think I was harmless. But inside, I was planning. I knew exactly what my first purchase would be. And it wasn't a vacation. It was something far closer to home. Something that would make my son wish he'd never driven me here in the first place. A week after the lottery confirmed my win, the funds quietly landed in the trustee's account. I had more money than I'd ever dreamed, and I knew exactly where to spend it first, on the very building where my dear son lived. Through a discreet real estate agent, a woman who understood the power of confidentiality, I learned the apartment complex my son and his family occupied was in financial trouble. The landlord was drowning in debt and desperate to sell. Perfect. Within 3 days, the deal was done. I was now the owner of the roof over my son's head. I didn't tell him immediately. Oh no. That would have been too quick, too merciful. I waited until the ink dried, until the rent notices were ready to go out under the new management name, Golden Years Properties. The name made me chuckle. My golden years indeed. On the morning the notices were delivered, I called my son from the nursing home's landline. My voice was calm, almost sweet. "Hello, dear. I just wanted to let you know that I've been doing quite well lately." He was distracted, as always. "Yeah, Mom, that's great. Listen, we're a little tight on money this month, so I might not be able to visit until..." I cut him off. "Oh, you'll be hearing from me sooner than you think. Check your mailbox." Hours later, my phone rang so hard it nearly fell off the table. My son's voice was sharp, almost panicked. "Mom, the new landlord just sent a notice. They're tripling the rent. We can't afford this. We'll be forced to move." I let the silence hang for a beat. Then I said, slowly, "That's a shame, but I hear the nursing home has a vacancy." There was a pause. "Wait, you bought the building?" "Yes," I said, my smile audible. "Consider it a little birthday gift from the extra mouth you left behind." I hung up before he could respond. It wasn't about cruelty. It was about justice, and about reminding him that some doors, once closed, have a way of swinging back open, and hitting hard. It's funny how life works. A week before, I had been sitting in a nursing home, blowing out a single cupcake candle alone, wondering how my life had come to this. Now, I wake up every morning in a sunlit penthouse with floor-to-ceiling windows, sipping coffee from fine china, and smiling at the city skyline. I didn't just stop at buying my son's building. I bought 2 more in the same neighborhood, both fully paid in cash. And though I raised the rent on his, I dropped the rent on the other 2. Families who had been struggling now had a home they could actually afford. That was the real gift, using my fortune to help those who valued it. My son eventually moved to another city. We speak occasionally, but the conversations are short, polite, and guarded. I no longer expect apologies. I no longer need them. I've learned that sometimes revenge isn't about destroying someone's life, it's about building your own so high they can't reach you anymore. As for the nursing home, I made a donation large enough to renovate their recreation room, upgrade their library, and start a weekly live music night. The residents still call me Miss Lucky, and they're right, I am lucky. Because the truth is, winning the lottery wasn't my real jackpot. My real win was realizing that my worth was never defined by who stayed or who left, but by what I chose to do when I stood back up. And I stood up taller than ever.